Right, so good evening, ladies. Good evening, everybody. It's so nice to have you online with us for Power Hour. This is a monthly get-together, which we as Professional Collective is our professional business women's network, and we meet monthly online. And as we can see tonight, it's nice to cozy up in your own bedroom and in bed if that is the case, and that is how you'd like to spend the hour with us. But the whole intention of this is let's dive deeper into the world of being a business woman. In this instance, most of us are business owners, and the life as an entrepreneur can sometimes be very, very lonely. And on that note, I thought we're a small group here tonight, so maybe we'll start off by each one introducing themselves and just a quick little hello in on what is your business and how long have you been an entrepreneur. So I think let's start with Sandy. Sandy, you were first to step in with us tonight, so say hi and let us know what I mean. We see all the family photos in the back, so clearly I know who you are. I know who's your daughter, but you tell the rest of us.
So I'm an owner of Lou Geffen Sotheby's International Realty, South Africa. I've done it my whole life. I do all the training. I train the whole of all the agents in South Africa. I have a co-trainer, Greg, and we train together because it eventually became too big for one. And yes, I love what I do. Property's in my blood. And Sotheby's is my baby.
Fantastic.
In fact, after a while, we were in the beginning, we were Lou Geffen Estates. My husband and I started it together, and then it wasn't enough. And I wanted to franchise, I wanted to grow, and so you can say we kind of bought Sotheby's. So we were the first, how do you call it, country to take Sotheby's. Other than France, that had been hanging around, but it wasn't official. So we were the first country to be a master franchise. And then we started growing franchises. And that's what I do.
Fantastic, Sandy. Sandy, just so that you know, we've introduced a woman in realty as one of our categories for the Women of Status Awards 2026. So I'll have a little whisper to your daughter, who obviously won our CEO of the Year 2 years ago. And so we must have a chat about that. Right, next on my radar here is Yolandi.
Me. Good evening, everybody. My name is Yolandi Deploy. I've been on quite a journey. I, by accident, met Kim Everett from the Neuro Coach and Business Institute through my corporate life. I've been in the ICT industry all my life. And once I started attending her courses, I realized that corporate is no longer for me and that I would like to be an entrepreneur. So I'm a neuro life coach. I'm also a multiple brain integration technique coach. I'm an Enneagram practitioner. So for the last 5 years, I've been consulting with businesses about how to build winning teams. The one thing that I can boast about is when I worked for EOH, which is a technology company, I had the most successful bid office in the country, I suppose, with a 43% success rate. And then thanks to believing in the science of connecting with women in business, I happened to stumbled upon Charlotte, which was a absolute blessing in disguise. So Charlotte, thank you so much for everything that you do for women in business. I have not arrived yet. I'm still building my businesses, but I'm getting there. And thank you to you and the Women of Stature and to the Neurocoach Institute for getting me to where I am today.
Excellent, Yolandi. Well done. And you're in good company here tonight, I promise you. Linda Russo.
Thank you, Charlotte. So let me think. I've been in corporate finance my whole career, and about just short of 3 years ago, I decided if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. So I ventured out and I started off with at first outsource or fractional or virtual CFO work, just whatever word you want to put on it. So chief financial officer and business coaching. I am a professional qualified coach. But then the business has evolved and we now sort of, added onto that a growth check simulation, where we make sure, that are you actually ready for growth? Can you grow? What do you need to grow? What does growth look like? And then we also added the business simulation games. And in actual fact, Charlotte, today we were at Academia University to do a pitch for them. And yeah, that was quite an interesting pitch. And the whole time you're like so conscious. Oh, I need to speak Afrikaans, and I'm throwing all those English words. But so yeah, it's been going well. We do sort of help. Not so much startups, but you've been in business like 3 or 4 years or longer, obviously. So the smaller business, the medium, we also do corporate works and we do a lot of work virtually overseas and specifically in the greenfield energy space, which has just been phenomenal. And that's me. Thank you. And I can also say, Yolandi, absolutely for Charlotte. I mean, I was part of women, the Women of Stature last year, and I even went camping, and I've never camped in my life, but in any case. So, she gets you to do things, taking you completely out of your comfort zone, and yeah, and you do such wonderful work. So thank you, Charlotte, and your team.
No, it's our pleasure, our pleasure. Right, Cass Stevens, introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Cass Dumelo Molepo. I'm the owner of Kabametsi Kayas Auto Cards. It's trading as Limpopo Auto. I'm based in Polokwane, Limpopo. I've been in the business 5 years now. I'm into automotive industry. It is the industry that is mostly dominated by men. But my background is I did accounting science. I don't have any background of mechanics. I just decided to venture myself into automotive industry because as I grow up as a woman, I wanted to stand out and do things that maybe we are labeled to not to do them as we're growing up as women. My services are as follows. I do mechanical repairs, engine overhauls, minor and major services. We do suspension, we do gearbox repair services. We also do braking and clutch. I've been in the business for 5 years, like I said, and also I'm still learning in the mechanical industry, and I see as and I'm going somewhere in the business. I see myself growing as a person, And also based on the testimonial that I got during the week, as Charlotte was sharing on the group of in NetBank, I'm very inspired, and I believe that I'm in the good safe space for me to learn and grow as a person. I really appreciate this platform as well, together with the women culture, at the platform that you can make me to grow and make my business to flourish. Thank you.
Thank you, Cass Stevens. I just want you to know that we have also included a woman in automotive category this year in the Women of Stature Awards. So you need to get someone to nominate you or self-nominate, get yourself into that awards program. It's absolutely amazing. We are running out of time, so I want to ask the other ladies just to be quite brief. Zanelli?
Okay.
Zanelli? Are you with us? Okay. Nosipo? Your microphones are on. Yeah, okay.
Okay, good evening. My apologies, we don't have electricity. So I don't know what's going on. I think it went out at 7:10. So I don't know, there's just an outage. So you won't see me, it's dark. And I hope my network will be fine. Okay, my name is Gift Nosipo Ndlovu. I have a company, Dimming Solutions. We do construction, building maintenance. We have been in business since 2016. And I'm so excited to be part of the program that Charlotte added us on. And I'm really looking forward to meeting new people, networking, growing the business, which has been like stagnant maybe for the past 2 years. But after the first session that we had last week, I feel like my spirit was revived. So I'm really looking forward to learning and networking and growing, because they say we learn every day. So thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Nosipo. Zanelli, are you with us now?
Hi, yes, I'm back. I'm so sorry. I had to switch from my laptop to my phone quickly. I'm not sure what's happening with my laptop. The camera is also not working.
Not
So
a
sorry
problem.
about that. So yeah, my other company is ProServe Staffing. So ProServe Staffing was initially an events management company, which then moved from that into like skills development and placement in hospitality and establishment. So right now we're focusing on our workforce and development, and then just mainly skills-based employment solution, especially for youth in South Africa. So yeah, we are providing staffing solutions into the hospitality and event sector, while also we're trying to get accreditation training and also just get a little bit of job placement programs that we can, put through for this young, I guess because of, I would say, the unemployment in South Africa. So there's always young, hungry, people that are willing to learn new skills, and that can be also placed in different, hotels and restaurants. So yeah, that's just mainly what we do in ProServe Staffing.
Thank you, ladies. So yes, as I said, we're a small group here, and I can only imagine that most people are sitting in front of their TVs watching the discussions between President Trump and Ramaphosa. But it's not about quantity; it's about quality. So I think, as I said earlier, on the entrepreneurial journey can sometimes be an extremely it's almost anxious. It's anxiety, it's all sorts of emotions that goes along with being an entrepreneur. And this year, I'm very happy to say I've invited our winner, or the Entrepreneur of the Year, who won the category this year, and her name is Chantal de Silva. And Chantal, I'm going to just run through a few little questions with you, and then obviously we'll open up to the floor the ladies can ask any questions. So, you know, obviously Chantal went through an adjudication process. We received a biography, we received a lot of information about her, but now it's time for us to dig a little deeper into her entrepreneurial journey. So Chantal, I think let's start off by you introducing yourself and telling everybody the business that you are in and have been in for 17 years as the owner and entrepreneur that you are.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me first off. And gee, it's really lovely to listen to the ladies and what they're all up to. Wow, there's some real inspiration in here. So yeah, my business is 17 years old. I've we would say pharmaceutical. It's sales and marketing. Started off and we entered right into the pharmaceutical industry. I have a team of just under 60 people, but just like most entrepreneurs, as they start off, we actually started off as a base of 3 people. And over the 17 years, I've worked us up to 60 people. So I'm well versed in what it takes from a lot of where some of you are at the moment, from being at starting point 3 years and 5 years, and what it takes to be able to get to this level, and just what it takes to actually push through. Yeah, I'm versed in the employment side as well. I heard you, I think it was Zanele, talking about the employment and the be able to offer and work with staff out there and what the need for staffing at the moment. So I made that a real passion in my business. It became really personal for me, take my personal journey, and I really made that my inspiration. And I think that is what has caused the business to grow and really push forward into where it's at. Taking care of those around me and working those hours. It's long hours, it's hard work, but at the end of the day, if that's your journey and your inspiration, it's all worth it. Oh, your mic is on mute, I think, Charlotte.
May I ask a question to Chantal?
Can we just finish with the basic interview, and then we're going to open for questions? Chantal,
No problem.
just dig a little deeper or give a little bit more insight. So you into medical supplies?
Correct. So the business is, we are an outsourced pretty much sales and marketing. So I have a full team. We deal with customers like Dis-Chem, Clicks, independent pharmacy, Woolworths, Truworths. So my function is to we'll get a big client on board that'll come forward. Some of you'll know the brands, Schoon, Charlotte Race, Satiskin, Playgirl, Playboy, Shower to Shower, the kind of brands that we have a look at. And those brands will come to us and look for a way to be able to launch into the trade. We will then take the brands for them and work, possibly dependent on what the customer is looking for, a marketing strategy out from listing at different customers like wholesalers, cash and carry, independent pharmacy wholesaling, and then we go out into the trade and actually drive their stock into the trade. So when you walk into a Dis-Chem or a Clicks and you see all those staff standing there, cleaning the shelves, putting the pricing up, doing all the tags on shelf, activating those hotspots to get the promotions going. A lot of the time, that's us out there doing that work. So I have a full team doing that on that side. And then we have a really strong doctor detailing team. So we do go into the medical side of things, where we've got a team that goes out and deals specifically on what we call our back shop medicines, etc. So we have a very different, diverse portfolio. Over 17 years, it's taken me from starting off on the front shop kind of brands, working all the way back into back shop, and yeah, right across diverse into retail and pharmaceutical sector.
And Chantal, tell me, what would you say has been one of your greatest challenges in your business?
I think one of the biggest challenges is, and one of the most important parts for me, is surrounding yourself with people that almost know more about the trade than you do. Starting off is tough. Of course it is. You kind of always look at it and you start small and you're second guessing along the way. It's having the confidence to keep going, the faith in yourself, and ensuring that every step of the way, you stay based, grounded within your business. Make sure, and I think you mentioned there very clearly, is the am I going to be okay? The sleepless nights, the worries that what does tomorrow hold? And I think what I learned along the way was to make sure that you're able to do the basics of your business. Always stay grounded in the basics. For me, if I take into referral of my business, and it would be very different for Kate Stevens, I would have a look at it and say, she's talking about gearboxes and changes and all the rest of it. Understanding the basics of my business would be if I have to roll up my sleeves tomorrow and get into the trade and go and clean that shelf and activate that promo activation at store level, I'm able to do it. Make sure you understand at every time that you turn that corner, that the people that you're putting out there, you understand what they're giving and the job that they're doing within the trade, and that you're also able to do it so that at all time you stay grounded. That for me was the best way of making sure of keeping the stress at bay, that it's okay because this is what they're doing. And if I need to roll up my sleeves, I can get stuck in and maintain the business at that level.
Quite rightly so. I think that is exactly where one has to be. You have to be on ground level and know the business from ground level up. Now, there's one of our ladies is the financial guru. What would you say from a financial perspective is the most important aspect of finance that a business owner, an entrepreneur should know about her business?
Sure, there's so many sides to it. There's obviously the passion of getting out there and doing the business, but at the end of the day, if the number's not in, the business can't survive. So it's making sure that the foundation is there, the people working with those numbers, you cannot let go for 1 minute. Although I've put the people in play and we have all the foundations there, it's ensuring that that number comes in every month. For us, it's very much driven on a budget number. It's understanding exactly what the costs are of the company, what it takes to run, breaking it down right into its smallest entity. We have so many angles that come into the business from my perspective, and not just salaries, it's the small things and the petrol bills that come in, the rentals, etc. And watching every single cent that runs through the business, staying on top of not only bringing it in, but collecting it and make sure that it comes in at every level. Yeah, you've got to be on top of the financial side, and every single month is a sit down and work through. Although you got your overheads and you understand what it takes to bring those in and where it's at, it's double checking those overheads every month, making sure you keep them intact and that what's coming into the business is always on top of those overheads. Forecasting, so important within the business. We forecast at least a year ahead at this point. When you get into a small business, when you start off, wow. I mean, I remember starting off thinking, wow, we're just covering overheads. Are we going to cover every month? So there is a leap of faith that comes in it. But you constantly got to be forecasting ahead and watching. And there's months of, whew, is it going to be okay this month? You've always got to have that flush in the background. But knowing that forecast ahead and just, push strong.
And Chantal, you employ 60 people. Now, that's a fair number of people to employ in a business. What would you say is the method of employing people that you can be assured that you're employing the right people?
Also been years of trial and error. You learn along the way. We've had all types of people come through the business. I think you learn as you go exactly what you're looking for. But so important, those references that come in, employing the people and understanding and making sure that the people that you employ fit within the culture of the team members that you have in play. For us as sales and marketing, we are so budget driven and so team driven that it's like if one wheel is squeaking, the machine doesn't work. So for us, it's been a collective of employment and ensuring that these are team players and that they're prepared to roll up their sleeves. So you need to have a look at the culture of the company, ensure the person that you're bringing in fits that culture. Running through, for me, it's the very old school employment process of interviewing, second interview, doing the references, doing the checks, doing the credit checks. For us, it's very important. We have to do all the retail credit checks. And then ensuring the person fits within that profile. We also have very strong culture in the business of motivation, and ensuring that the people, once we have the people in play, you take into consideration what's happening in those people's lives. Make sure they're part of the journey with you, and that you're consistently motivating the people that are next to you. Understand about their families, their interests, and make sure you incorporate it into the business. We run a very family-driven entity.
It's so important that you're saying about, it's the well-being of your people, because at the end of it all, the business is your people, not so. I mean, the people the people is your business, because without those people. Now, Chantal, if you that busy, and I'm going to now reflect a little bit more on you as Chantal, the woman. How do you stay sane? What do you do to keep yourself almost like above the water and not feeling that you're drowning every day?
Sure. I think what's been a big take for me is I'm a big believer in, so for me, what works is that early morning walk with a podcast. We went through this when we went through my initial interview during the Woman of Stature. And it's just something, it's a personal journey for me. I love what I do. You've got to be so careful. There's got to be a balance, because obviously there's family that comes into play. I have 2 boys that I now am bringing into the business and teaching the ropes. And that's where I'm looking back at my journey and going, how did I stay sane through this? How did I balance this? How did I bring the kids along and make sure they all came through? But at this point, mine is that early morning wake up, get up. And I'm sure many of you have heard about, and if you haven't, the book, The 5 a.m. Club. That's one of them that's really been at this stage for me, a big one. Make sure you get ahead of your day. Get up, get up early. Put on that podcast or whatever it is that makes you tick, that takes your brain off work, that takes you away from what's about to happen in the day. Make sure you look after yourself first, even if it means getting to the gym. At my age, it's a walk. It's not necessarily gym. But mine is the walk with a podcast, be it first Mondays are usually inspirational. It's one of the podcasts that may come out. I love Vanessa Van Edwards is big for me. Then my second day is, and this is a personal journey, is Stephen Furtick, which is a journey of keeping my feet on the ground. He is a religious leader, but for me, that's a personal thing. And Charlotte, it's pulling yourself out of that drive every single day. I love the drive. It's my energy, it's what drives me, and I can get lost in it. And you've got to be careful, because if you don't look after yourself, you find yourself spiraling into that hole, that you can become sucked in. The hours are long, but you need to take time out and look after yourself along the way. And break. You got to break from what you're doing. It's hard to break, but you do need to.
Absolutely, because we wear so many hats, don't we, ladies? You start off the day, you've got to get up and make sure that the family are okay, that those that still have young children have to make sure the children get off to school, and lunch packing, and then you go to the office, and then you start babysitting everybody at the office again. So Chantal, if you were to give any woman who is in a business currently and who might be facing some challenges, if you were to give them a word of advice, what would that word of advice be?
Be calm. I think, we tend to spiral quite quickly once you're facing those challenges. I can say it's 17 years in, and the business is actually, it's at a point where it's getting bigger than it's ever been. I've hit the 50 mark, and I'm kind of going, it wasn't supposed to be spinning at this point. It wasn't supposed to be climbing at this point, but it's actually growing right. It's only hitting its potential now. It's starting to hit the top of that curve. And it's about waking up and staying calm every day. There's times where you do sit and you look and you go, okay, how am I going to do that? There's just so much on my plate. And you've got to be able to lean on the people around you. So again, there's really important from the employment aspect and who you pull into your picture. You've got to have those people to be able to lean on. But often these days where you'll just kind of look at it and go, what am I going to do? How do I deal with the situation at play? The best thing is shut the laptop, walk away from the desk. I've blessed myself in working in an environment where I'm working in an old heritage site. I shut down that laptop and I go for a walk. Even if it's a 15, 20-minute walk, allow yourself to spiral, allow yourself to fall, and then pull yourself together and say, right, you know, you've got to be able to get your head straight to be able to dig yourself out of that hole. And it's really just about staying calm. Nothing is unfixable. You can always fix it. It's just how you tackle it as the outcome.
Well, Chantal, thank you very much. And I think there was some great words of inspiration and insight into the life of a entrepreneur, 17 years on, running an unbelievably successful company. But there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that has gone into those 17 years. And there's a good saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. And
Absolutely.
small steps, and that's where it got you from 3 people to 60 staff members. Unbelievable. And you know, 17 years might sound like, oh, but it's a long time to be in business. Let me tell you, it takes a good 3 to 5 years to get your business to the point where it's actually starting to look like a business. The first 3 to 5 years, you're just busy developing. And I think a lot of people think, okay, I'll be okay within 5 years. It takes a long time to establish a sound
Absolutely.
business. So Chantal, I'm sure the ladies have got lots of questions for you. So we'll go into some questions. And I know, Yolandi, you had your hand up very first. Sorry that I had to interrupt you there, but I just wanted to get into a little bit more detail so that there's more to ask questions on. So, Yolandi, over to you.
My question to Chantal,
Yes.
do you or have you ever heard of the Enneagram?
No, I haven't. So you're going to tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, I'd like to share with you guys. About 7 years ago, I was introduced to a tool called the Enneagram. The Enneagram is a self-awareness and self-development tool. So it teaches you about who you are as a person. I landed, I don't know if it accidentally, on a 3, which made me a competitive achiever. And then obviously I needed to know, but why am I a competitive achiever? So I met up with Kim Everett again, and they talked me through, like, why am I 3? Why am I a competitive achiever? And it went all the way back into my childhood when my sister outshined me for many, many, many years, because she's like the perfect school attendant person. Excuse my voice, I've got a bit of flu, but anyway. And she's never stepped out of the lines, and she married a millionaire, and she's got the most beautiful children. And I just wasn't that as a teenager. And in my adult life, I discovered that I want to outshine the rest. So I told myself stories that I have to outshine my rest. I have to outshine the rest. I have to push myself to be the best all the time. So the Enneagram allows you to look at your vices and your virtues, and then also use some of the other numbers. There's numbers 1 to 9 to become the best version of yourself. And that is my that is where I specialize in. So I was so fascinated with the Enneagram that I decided that I'm going to study it, and then I became a practitioner. So yeah, I mean, Chantal, what I do is I engage with corporates and individuals and families and couples And that is my thing, is the Enneagram. I live for the Enneagram. So if I may, on this platform, Charlotte and Chantal, share a little bit more about the Enneagram, I'd love to do that on a WhatsApp or whichever platform is allowed.
Right.
Lovely.
Thank you, Yolandi. Does anybody else have a question for Chantal? Cass Stevens, I see that you have your hand up. Have you got a question for Chantal?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me just switch on the camera. Okay. I'm very inspired with the girls teaching, or maybe the story. I just want to I'll say it's a concern of some sort, because the experience that she's been in the business, and also because I'm still struggling as the employer, because I'm too emotionally attached to the employees, and also I find it very difficult to let go of an employees, because I believe that I believe that the business are the people. I find it very difficult on myself, and I'm still struggling a lot for me to deal with the person who resigned, or with the person that leave the job. With the experience that you have in the business, and with a lot of employees that we have in the company, how do you manage that? Because I still struggle even today. Thank you.
Okay, the first thing I want to say to you is that, and if I'm understanding you correctly, but there's something you need to put in the back of your head, is that everybody is replaceable. And I know that doesn't sound very nice right now, but because we get extremely attached to people, especially, and I've learned this through the years, the employees I brought on, a lot of them I took, and my choice on employment was to take people preferably unemployed, and I was put a lot of passion into training people, and I would get them to a level where they then needed to fly and they needed to grow, possibly, and I couldn't always give them it. And it would always be a stress for me saying, and I'm sure, Cass Stevens, and what you're doing, you look at it and go, you're probably training people, and you're teaching them, and especially if you're bringing in women, you're showing them the ropes, and it almost becomes emotionally draining when you see, okay, they move on. It takes time. So there's two sides to it. If you're asking me from that perspective, you always need to remember somebody does come through. There's always people out there looking for work, and there's always people that you'll be able to train or bring in and bring up to that level. I've lost really good people that I've taken from bottom and trained them through, and then I had to release them because they need to shine back into the corporate. They want to go to corporate. I've had to learn to not take it personal and not let it be emotional, and actually encourage and help the people bridge. If you're coming in from the other aspect, where the people are not performing and you're holding on to people because there's an emotional attachment, and you've always got to give somebody a fair advantage. But at the end of the day, there's one thing you always have to remember, is your business is only going to be as good as your people. And if one wheel is squeaking, it's to the detriment of everybody on that team. So you do have to watch for that and emotionally take yourself away from that. I run a very family-run business, as I say, so I do get attached to my employees, but there's always got to be that line of it's give and take within the business. And if the employee is not performing and pulling down the business, it does need to be addressed. But remember, they're employees. As close as they feel that you are to them, and as attached you get to them, they will eventually move on somewhere along the line. So try and pull the emotion out of it. It's difficult, but always at the end of the day, remember, if the business interests are at heart, then that is what you got to put that first, because it's what keeps everybody, including yourself, safe within the business.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
I hope that helps.
Thank you.
That was a good question, because I think a lot of people struggle with, how do I let somebody go? Or if they go, how is it that they're going? I've put so much time and effort into this person, why are they leaving? But I think what you've advised is good advice. Any other questions, ladies, that you'd like to pose to Chantal? Mariska, I see you joined us a little bit later, but welcome and thanks for joining us. If you'd like to say hello to everybody. Your microphone is off. If you'd like to put it on. Okay. All right. So ladies, in the last 15 minutes that we've got, Linda, your hand is up. So Linda, over to you.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Yeah, Chantal, I mean, fascinating story. And I think, when I look at, I'm 3 years into it and 17 years is quite down the line, but be it as it may. The one question that I would like to ask you is, how do you see your industry evolving in the coming years? And how is your company positioning itself for the future?
Brilliant question. Okay, so when I took on this role of this business, it was right back when independent pharmacy, so I'm going to relate it right into my industry, but my independent pharmacy was at its struggle. Dis-Chem and Clicks had come into play, and everybody was going, oh, independent pharmacy is just going to die, and Dis-Chem and Clicks are going to come in and take over as the corporate and really, push down the independent pharmacy side. And I actually stood back at that point and I made a decision. And that, I think, was the standing ground of my business. I launched my business on survival of independent pharmacy. I looked at this and went, well, hold on, there's got to be a gap where nobody wants to be. And that's exactly where I founded myself. I really dug my heels in and I worked with those little independent pharmacies day on day, not fighting against the corporate companies and making sure that if they wanted to and they were prepared to take their head out the sand, I would work with them and assist them to survive what was coming from the corporate onslaught. So I became a middleman between suppliers, the big suppliers supplying into the pharmacy industry, and saying, but if you're giving Dis-Chem that price, hold on, I'm going to fight for the smaller guy. So I did that, and that has stood me in good stand. Although you got to move with the time. Dis-Chem and Clicks came, and whether I liked it or not, and I wanted to say, I'm going to do this independent thing, Dis-Chem and Clicks approached, and I had to get stuck in. So I've kept my foundation. I almost ran my business. If you take the pyramid, there's got to be a foundation to it. And I've kept loyal to that base that I started. Then driven into the corporate industry because I had to. So I got involved there and I'm just watching. Every day it's evolving. Dis-Chem and Clicks and the bigger guys have done their jobs and it's really taken the industry where it needs to be. But what has happened, and this is exactly, I'm 17 years in. It's taken 17 years and my door is being knocked down by corporate companies asking me to take them back to independent pharmacy. It's insane. I'm probably one of the last standing independent agents left. And suddenly my business is turning a massive corner, has boomed over the last 4 or 5 years because I stayed true to where I started. So I believe in watch the industry. You got to move with it. You got to move with the times, but always stay loyal and keep watching where your base came from, because that is what you founded. And that's your personal journey. That's what you were. That was personal for me. The small guys had to survive. I worked with them and suddenly it's coming back into play. So I hope that answers it, but it's moving with the times, but always stay true to where you were.
Great. Thank you so much, Chantal.
Very interesting that you should speak about that, because it is unfortunately a tendency for, in many instances, to go to the large corporations and base your business model on this big client. Absolutely. But if you have lots of little clients, if one of them leaves, you're not so badly affected. But if that big corporate company decides that's the end of your contract, no more, you are
100%.
Sometimes. So it's a very wise thing to do is start building on the smaller, if I say smaller relationships, and then work your way to the top.
Absolutely.
So that was a brilliant method of securing, your reputation as well.
Correct. And we know corporate can be ruthless. So building your foundation on where you know there's a safety net is a good place to be, and put the cherry on the top. 100%.
Because we're chasing the big money, but we forget about lots of little bits of money can make up the big money eventually.
And the security. If that one big one pulls.
Yeah. Yes, Yolandi.
So being a life coach and being in the coaching industry, I often refer back to the teachings of Kim. And I had a meeting with her not so long ago. And she said to me that, and it was life-changing, she said to me, you need to decide how much pro bono work you're going to do. And you have to align your head, heart, and gut brain so that you actually become a smart life coach instead of a dumb life coach. And I appreciate it so much. And I know I speak about her a lot, but I look up to her, and like whatever they do in their business has just changed my life forever. So I just wanted to leave a thought before we end this meeting, that remember that you've got 3 brains: a head brain, a heart brain, and a gut brain.
Well, it so happens that Gift, Nosipo, Zanelli, and Stevens have just gone through the Enneagram with Kim and Jeremy Everett, who is Neuro Coach and Mentor Institute and Neuro Business Institute, and they're now starting their mentoring with them. So when you started speaking about the Enneagram, I can imagine that all 3 of them must have had a big smile on their face because they've all been through it. Kim, and they know Kim very well. And our first training is actually, which was last Wednesday, is Kim. So she does the personal mastery, and so they have a very, very good idea of who you're talking about when you talk about Kim. Mariska, are you able to join us for a quick hello? Because I know you said you had network problems, or is it still a problem for you? She says, my network's a terrible struggle to even join in. Okay, it would seem that she's still struggling. Okay, there we go. Mariska, can you join us?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, are you there? It's a bit unclear.
Hello.
We can hear you, Mariska. Do you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. And you, Mariska?
I'm good, thanks. So glad to be here.
Right. Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself and what you do? Okay. It seems as though she's having a problem with her connection. Right. So, ladies, in the last few minutes, I think we'd just like to each give a little golden nugget. So, Sandy, you've been in your business for many years. What would you like to leave? What thought would you like to leave with the ladies tonight? From a woman that's been in business, who's got years of experience, what's that golden nugget that you'd like to drop in here tonight?
I think it's positivity. I never, ever have a negative feeling to anything. And possess it, I must. You know, we say when we get a buyer who falls in love with a house, absolutely and perfectly, they say to themselves, possess it, I must. And from the day we opened our doors at a normal real estate agent, from that moment on, I was positive that I'd become the biggest. And I was positive that I'd beat the ones that were already big. So, yeah, there's tenacity to never, ever, ever think I can't do it. There's no such, I don't have that vocab. There's no negativity in what I do. In my training, I train people every single day, and I teach them to laugh and to love. And if you love what you do and you love your job and you love your business, that's already a word of success. And what was interesting is that we had presentation by one of the top people in Sotheby's, and it ended up that he said he preaches that you must love what you do. And if you're starting a Sotheby's franchise, you must love that franchise and you must love what you're about to create. Because if you don't, it doesn't come out right.
Yes.
So the love thing is mine. The positivity is mine. There's no such thing as no. Even today, my daughter sent me rollicking and rolling from somewhere out in Witkoppen to get some soccer boots or something. And in the middle of my day, I went, and it was so stupid. And I just laughed because when I got to the school, I couldn't find my grandson. So I couldn't find, and people were saying, no, he's played, he's gone. It just
Oh,
so happened
dear.
that there was another Eli there, and I got told the wrong information.
Oh,
And
shame.
his match had just started, and I've never felt so stupid in my whole life because
Oh,
I
shame.
left and took his soccer boots home.
Oh,
But we're
shame.
going away tomorrow or Friday for the weekend, so
Right.
he's my joy.
Oh,
And
lovely,
I love
lovely.
children, and children in real estate, when parents bring their kids to see houses, they are the buyers and sellers of houses for their parents.
Oh,
So
gosh,
there's
yes.
so many facets and
Yeah.
so many ways of doing, of creating your business. But I think the main thing is the positivity, the love, and I will do it.
Oh, thank you, Sandy. Thank you very much. Linda, your parting words and your golden nuggets.
Let me think. I think what I would like to say, be clear on the value that you offer and learn those financial basics. You know, some people say, oh, it's my accountant's problem, it's my FM's problem. No, it's your problem. You need to know what's going on there. So learn those basics because they're empowering. It really takes you from profit to power, and surround yourself with people who stretch your thinking and help you stay focused on the big picture.
Well, that's wise words. That is wise words. So, ladies, I hope you've enjoyed this evening. Chantal, your last words before we sign out tonight.
And keep your feet on the ground, look forward, but not too far forward, so that you just live in the now, but focus on what you want to grow, but make sure you enjoy it every step of the way.
Excellent. Well, ladies, tonight we heard about positivity, we heard about love, we've heard now about keeping your feet on the ground, and I think Linda quite rightly says, keep your eye on that rand and cents in your business. We mustn't lose sight of it. My husband's got a very good saying. He says, look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us this evening. I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed it, and we're on 8 o'clock. So I see we've got hands that are clapping. Stevens, thank you very much. Mariska, sorry that you couldn't join us tonight with bad signal. So ladies, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Yolanda, you're welcome to drop any emails and that. I'll answer any of the questions, but just I want to keep the ladies after 8 o'clock. So if you are all okay with that, thank you so much. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next month, same place, same time, and I'll let you know exactly when. All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Keep well. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.